is Anissa, and I'm a software developer who recently graduated from a bootcamp in Canada. And those are pretty much my credentials, so I hope that's good enough. I thought that maybe I could make this video and help some people out who were looking to do a bootcamp in Canada and didn't really know where to start. So this is kind of your first step into looking into a bootcamp in Canada and kind of getting to the place where you can decide which is the best one for you. I'm going to be making a lot of videos on how to prep for boot camp, what to do during boot camp, how to study, what to do after boot camp. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, keep on watching and look out for more videos, and yeah, I hope you like it. Okay, so the first point that I'm going to talk about is, where is the boot camp located? Is it actually located in Canada, or is it based in the United States? Now, I thought that this was an important point to bring up because there are a lot of boot camps that are kind of started in the States and then maybe added a Canadian or two Canadian cities to their locations, and I don't know about this. That's not to say that they are not, that they don't have the best career services, but because they're more based in the United States, I would think that the connections that they have to companies might be a little bit more States focused than Canada focused. So I think that if your bootcamp has more locations in the States or another country, try to figure out what the career services are like. Maybe message someone on LinkedIn who went to that bootcamp. Also, side note, I think no matter what, you should message people who went to all of the bootcamps that you're considering on LinkedIn. This is just a really good way to get like a first-hand account on how the bootcamp was and how someone's experience was, and of course message more than one person because one person might not be a fair assessment, but message people on LinkedIn also because this is being someone who went to a bootcamp and doesn't come from a traditional technical background. You're gonna probably have to do a lot of networking to get your first job. Most job board applications are not how people get jobs, it's through networking. So this is kind of going to be your first step if you haven't already started into networking, because I messaged a few people who went to the bootcamp that I ended up going to, and I ended up making a long-term connection with those people just from talking to them for a bit. And if you're a little bit nervous to message people, try to remember that people love to talk about their accomplishments, so I really seriously doubt you'll be bothering them, especially someone who just finished a bootcamp. Like, it's gonna be an ego boost to them. So I think definitely go ahead. Don't be shy to message people on LinkedIn. I think it's really gonna work out in your favor. Okay, step 2 for where is the bootcamp located is the bootcamp part of a university? Now, I don't know if this is how common this is in the States, but I have noticed in Canada 2 emerging trends. One is universities actually kind of taking in old existing boot camps and making them a part of the university, and also universities offering their own kind of like 3-month intensive web development program, which is not necessarily marketed as a boot camp, but it is essentially very similar to a boot camp. However, these university programs might not have the same type of career services that a bootcamp would, but going to a university program could have some other potential benefits. Of course, there's always the name associated with the university, which in my opinion, it's really probably not a big deal, but if it's important to you, then that's definitely something that's important to note. Also, going to an actual university might give you access to libraries and stuff and a bit of a bigger community, maybe if you want to join extracurriculars for the short time that you're there. So it is something that could be interesting to look into to see if a university in your province is offering a kind of intensive program like this, or if there's a bootcamp that was actually taken in by a university in your province. That would probably be the best case scenario in my opinion. Okay, the curriculum. So the curriculum is one of the 2 most important things that you have to consider when you're doing a bootcamp. And this is because I've seen some curriculums, honestly, that I'm not that impressed by. So you do want to look out for something that is going to give you a deep, well, as deep of a level of understanding as you can get in 3 months. And for me, I think that the best way to do that, in my opinion, and based on my experience and research, is a full stack JavaScript program. Now, that's not to say that other programs that are not full JavaScript cannot accomplish this, but I do think it's the safest way to go if you're not sure. And the reason that I'm saying this is because the full stack JavaScript programs, they tend to take you through one stack, and by stack I mean one framework for building a project, and not jumping around and kind of using a lot of different frameworks. And because when you're using a lot of different frameworks, you're really only getting a surface level understanding. So you don't want to be doing React and Node, and then like the next week you're jumping to Ruby and it's totally different, and you're focused on learning the syntax instead of getting better at the frameworks that you're already learning. So I think that full stack JavaScript is one of the ways that accomplishes this the best. But if you're not doing a full stack JavaScript, I would make sure that the program you are doing doesn't jump around too much from framework to framework, and really kind of picks one or two frameworks and just like goes deep into those. So that's what I would look out for. Although another reason I do think full stack JavaScript is the best is because it really is the most common right now. Like, this is what most companies are using that are probably going to be the companies looking to hire you. That's not to say that you can't get a job working for a company that uses a language that you don't know yet. That is absolutely possible. But I mean, may as well put yourself in the best case scenario and learn what everyone is looking for, right? Okay, the other of the two most important items on this list is career services. So for some people, career services is the only reason that they're even taking a bootcamp. And it's really kind of probably around half of what you're actually paying for from the bootcamp. So you really want to make sure that the bootcamp you choose has good career services, because they are so valuable, especially because you're a new developer, you're not coming from a traditional background, which is totally okay and like completely accepted in the industry now. But even for all developers who do have a university degree, getting your first job is much, much harder than getting your second or third or whatever job. Getting the first job is the hardest part, but once you get it, then you're good. So you really want a bootcamp that's going to offer you services, that's going to assist you and be there with you throughout the entire job process. So I would really look for a bootcamp that has the kind of career services that you have one-on-one access to career coaches after. You probably want, if it's possible, something where you can have access to technical help, maybe if it's from teachers even, and I'm talking about after the bootcamp. Because if you see a bootcamp that just has workshops throughout the bootcamp and then a one week event for career services and a career fair, honestly, that's not enough, in my opinion. I think, well, it could be for some people. I think though you should be looking for a bootcamp that gives really the most possible career services. You want one-on-one help when you're done, and you want a long-term commitment too, okay? I'm talking 3 to 6 months of commitment to you and your career services after the bootcamp is finished. This is because, like I said, the job hunt is going to take a long time. You're going to need help with your resume. You're going to need help with your LinkedIn, with networking, with reaching out to people. There's a lot to do. Once you graduate, you have a new full-time job, and that is looking for a job and getting better at programming. So you want the bootcamp to still be there with you and not just throw you out into the wild. Tuition. Okay, this is a big one. Tuition is a little bit different in Canada than it is in the States. You may have noticed that a lot of bootcamps in the States have tuition plans, things that might look like only pay when you graduate, or don't even pay unless you get a job. And so that's really enticing, and obviously, and that might even be a reason for someone to go to a bootcamp that's based in the States, and that's totally okay. Because from what I've noticed, most bootcamps in Canada tend not to have those kind of payment plans. I think the best long-term payment plan that I've seen for Canadian bootcamps, although it is rare, is a pay over 24 months, so that could be an option. When you're looking at the price of the bootcamp, yeah, most of them tend to be around the same price, but you do want to look for a couple of things. One thing is if a bootcamp charges extra for career services. I don't know why, I just find this a little bit fishy. Like, it really should be included in the price, so just watch out for that when you are choosing a bootcamp, and try to make sure that that's not the case. Also, some bootcamps are offering bursaries right now and scholarships, so definitely make sure you scan the entire website, look under the tuition section to see if there's any notes about bursaries, because that could be really helpful. And another thing that I want to mention is see if your province maybe has any government grants right now for technical programs, because I'm in Quebec, and Quebec is actually currently offering a really amazing grant for people doing technical programs, and they have a list on their website of all of the programs that are applicable for this grant, and I think it's up to 8 or 10K that you can get to do the program, and a lot of people who went to my bootcamp were actually eligible for this grant, so see if you are eligible. It could be really amazing help for your journey, so definitely look into that. Okay, one more quick thing that I wanted to mention about when choosing a bootcamp is the length. So I've actually seen quite a few bootcamps that are only 8 or 9 weeks long. I really don't think this is long enough. I mean, it could be, but like 12-week bootcamps are really not that much more expensive, and I really think that 12 weeks is already so short. I would not go shorter than 12 weeks for a bootcamp. So that's just what I think. It could be good. It could be okay to do a shorter one, but I think you're gonna get the most bang for your buck doing a 12-week program, because I think for me, like by 9 weeks in, I was still so lost, and like those extra 3 weeks is when things really started to come together. And even in the 12 weeks, I felt like a lot of people were still kind of struggling to get that, because when you start programming, like your brain has to change a little bit, and you have to start thinking like a programmer, and that takes time to make that adjustment. So I think 9 weeks is just too short. 12 is already short enough. So yeah, watch out for that. Also, I just want to note one thing. I studied for quite a long time before actually doing a bootcamp, and I really recommend to anyone who wants to do a bootcamp to study at least 3 months part-time before you even sign up for a bootcamp. But I'm gonna make another separate video all about like how I think you should prepare for a bootcamp, online or in person. Online or in person, it could be a make or break for some people, but it is my opinion that honestly, I really don't think it should be a deciding factor for you, and here's why. I mean, at first I actually really wanted to do a bootcamp in person, because getting that classroom environment and, you know, getting to like just be with everyone and like be learning together, I thought it would be so much fun and just like very motivating, which I'm sure that it would be. But I ended up kind of appreciating getting a little bit of extra time and not having to commute. And my bootcamp was online, so I did enjoy not having to commute, because the bootcamp is already so draining that it kind of was a little bit of a benefit in the end for me. I think some people found it to be, they would have preferred the bootcamp in person, but there are a lot of ways that you can kind of help yourself stay motivated and stay focused with an online bootcamp. Like, we were always meeting in study groups, like on Zoom rooms, and we would have our cameras off and we would be working on assignments and just like pop in every now and then to like ask questions, and people were so helpful, and it was a really good way to keep learning and studying together. Also, the library is open where I am now, so I was going to the library towards the end of my bootcamp. Like, you can meet up with your classmates at the library on the weekends if you really want to like be focused. I just think that there are ways around if the bootcamp is in person or if it's online. I think that you should really focus more on curriculum and career services before this point. That's not to say for everyone. Maybe for some people this is the most important thing, but I do think that for most, this shouldn't be a deciding factor for which bootcamp you decide to do. Also, one thing to note for this is I have seen some bootcamps that they have like physical locations in like a specific city, but then the actual, when you get there, the actual lecture is just kind of like recorded, or it's live but like on a screen, and it's from a teacher that's in another city. So do look out for that in case it's really important for you, because I actually saw this from reading reviews online, and people didn't find it to be very helpful to have that, and they really didn't like it. So that's actually something else I wanted to say is make sure, of course, that you read reviews for all of the bootcamps you're considering, but also specifically read the reviews for the bootcamp in the city that you would be attending, because they can be a little different across cities. One bootcamp might be really good in one city, but not so good in another city, depending on the teachers. So make sure that you check the reviews in the specific city that you're in. On Course Hero is a really good one. I think there's another one, and I'll link the name. I can't remember it right now. So look at those, and also, so that message people on LinkedIn when you're doing your research, and also I would say do an interview for all of the bootcamps you're considering, because this can be a really good way to get a sense of what the culture is like, what the people who represent the bootcamp are like. That's who you're going to meet in your interview, and that's also your chance to ask them any questions that you have. So something like, if you're not sure if the lectures are live or not, you should definitely ask in your interview, and really use that kind of as like a step in your decision-making process, not something that happens after you've decided. I think that's really all I wanted to talk about for today in regards to choosing a bootcamp in Canada. But if you have any questions, please let me know. I'd love to make more videos about this, and I have so much to share from my experience in bootcamps, all my friends, and just self-studying online for a long time. So please let me know any questions that you have, and I hope you like this video, and I hope you will stick around to watch more videos.